Unacademy. Let's crack it.
Hello, Apala. Congratulations. You have secured ninth rank in UPSC final result. Can you please tell us something about yourself firstly? Let the learners know about something about yourself.
So, I am a dentist by profession, and I have done the Bachelor's of Dental Surgery for 5 years. And I began dedicatedly preparing after I passed out from my college in 2017 December. So since 2018, I've been preparing since 3 years, and this was my third attempt.
Mm-hmm. You have gone till the interview before, Apala?
No, ma'am. My first attempt was given not with any preparation, and even the second attempt was not very well prepared. So I did not qualify prelims in those two stages.
Okay, and this time you have come with a bang, right?
Yes, ma'am. This was my first mains and first interview.
Commendable. Apala, usually medical background students have a lot of apprehensions preparing for UPSC.
Yes,
did you really face any challenges? And being from the medical background, what was your optional? How did you choose your optional?
Ma'am, I think the major challenge that medical students face is the lack of proper guidance, because from our field, not many students or many seniors are appearing for this exam. So there is a lack of guidance, and also since our subjects are not similar to the UPSC subjects that the UPSC exam desires, so there are apprehensions. And I chose anthropology as my subject because it was closer to my medical background, and BDS as an optional is not available, so anthropology was the given choice.
Okay. You said there was no proper guidance, from your seniors and all. How did you go about with your preparation? Was there anybody to guide you? Do you really think guidance is essential?
Yes, ma'am, I think guidance does play a certain role. However, we cannot say that if someone does not have any guidance, then he or she cannot clear it. But it's just that we need to focus on ourselves and our strengths, and we need to understand the exam, what it demands. So I think guidance plays a role in that aspect of the preparation. But apart from that, everything is about self-study and self-belief.
A lot of students talk about, first clearing prelims, then preparing for mains, and then clearing mains, and then going for the interview. What is your opinion, Apala? Do you really think you have to prepare for each exam separately, or do you think it's a holistic approach that is required?
No, ma'am, I think from the very beginning, you have to prepare for everything. Because even for the interview, that should also be kept in mind since the beginning. Because if you're not prepared, then any stage can make you falter or can make you more apprehensive. So one must prepare very holistically, and every aspect helps in one way or the other. Even mains preparation can help in prelims preparation can help in interview. So all the three aspects are interrelated.
How important is it for a student to practice answers? Because this is one major hurdle students have. There is a starting problem with answer writing. Many of them don't want to start with it. They feel that until I'm prepared with the whole syllabus, I won't be able to do. So what do you think about answer writing? When should they start preparing for answer writing?
Ma'am, I think as soon as we start covering certain portions of the syllabus, then we should start practicing answers for those aspects which have been covered. And the writing practice should go along side by side. For example, if you're studying history, then history answer writing should go along side by side. Because once we write, then we come to know how much we've understood the topic, how much we are being able to present it, and how much have we actually been able to inculcate it into our preparation. So it should go side by side.
Okay. Now, what were the challenges that you faced, with your medical background in understanding social sciences? Because, a lot of students who come from medical background or engineering background, the first thing they have in their mind is, I don't know anything about social sciences. So how did you approach this bottleneck?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, I was myself very fearful of this aspect of the UPSC preparation. But I think if you're hardworking and if you are dedicated enough, then I think there is no subject that one cannot understand at this phase of life. And in fact, social sciences is a very great subject because it tells us about our surroundings. And in science, we are actually a little isolated from the surroundings, but subjects like society and international relations, they actually help us understand our surroundings better. So it's okay. It takes a little time to understand these subjects, but I think once you understand them, you get through easily.
So we should say you need a practical approach.
Yes, sure.
Breaking down things and understanding.
Yes, and we must also see what are our strengths, and not only weaknesses but also strengths. That if we are able to understand certain subject better or not, and then work accordingly.
So you have to work on your strengths, mitigate your weaknesses, is it? Right. Interview, how was it? How was the whole experience? First interview and you cracked. So how was your whole experience with the interview?
I think the interview experience was actually very good. It was a very nice experience, and the board was very cordial. It felt like a mature conversation with the board, and there were a few unique questions also asked. For example, we had almost a 5-minute discussion on the sari that I was wearing, which was very interesting. So I think it was a very nice experience.
So, this idea that it is not an interview and it is majorly a personality test.
Yes, that is true.
They give you a feel of a personality test more than an interview?
Because I was asked mostly analytical questions. They wanted to know my opinion, and it was very little facts. So I think it was a very great test for personality.
Now, coming to facts, since you mentioned facts, usually students ask us how many facts should we remember, how many articles should we remember, and all these things. What data should we remember? Do you really think data plays a role in your, in your exam, especially with respect to mains?
Yes, ma'am. I think data, you have to be very proactive in collecting data and facts, because these are the things that will these will add a certain, certain bonus marks to your answers or certain decoration to your answer, and this will also give a lot of strength to your answers.
So it substantiates your stand, basically, whatever stand you take.
So for every subject, I think separate data must be made and remembered, and that is why we need to practice it, how to add data into your answers. That can be practiced while answer writing.
See, many candidates, when they prepare, first attempt, second attempt, they lose their hope, they become skeptical about the exam, they don't know how to motivate themselves. So what do you have to say to all these students who find it difficult to keep themselves going?
So, ma'am, I think this exam does take a lot of toll on the mental health, and that is one aspect that is often not told in the beginning. So I think it is very important to have the self-confidence and self-belief, because in this exam there are so many people and so much information available. It is very easy to lose your confidence and to become vulnerable. But I think if you believe in yourself and if you tell yourself daily that I can do it and dedicatedly work hard for it, then you can definitely get through.
So how do you build this confidence? Because what happens is, in our daily interaction with students, they keep telling us, ma'am, I'm getting demotivated. I'm studying one subject, but I'm thinking of the other subject. How should I keep myself motivated? So any practical tips that you can give for self-motivation, anything to do with their preparation, what they can inculcate? How should they strategize their preparation to stay motivated?
Yes, ma'am. I think what is very important is forming targets. And once you achieve that target, then have a little break to revitalize your mind and to begin the preparation again. So I think we need to have clear targets, clear goals, monthly targets, weekly targets, and clear break time also is very necessary to keep yourself motivated. And also we must take baby steps. We must not see the entire huge forest at once. We should see, like, in this week we've done this much, so it is good. That should be motivating him. So it is tough.
So you feel that it should be a practical approach. Understand how much you can do and do accordingly.
Yes, ma'am. And don't get overwhelmed. Just be happy with how much you're doing.
No overconfidence.
No overconfidence.
Yes. Apala, you have went to the interview the third time, mains interview. And COVID really had an impact on all the students who were preparing over the last 2 years. Your interview also got postponed for quite some time. Even for the students who are appearing this year, the same problem is there. How did you cope up with this uncertainty, whether the exam will happen, when will the exam happen, interview and all this?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, this uncertainty did take a lot of toll because, firstly, our exam got postponed twice. First during the prelims, and then again during the interview. But then it happened with everyone, and I think the entire country was facing huge problems at that time. So we must just be grateful for what we have and what we could do, and not over pressurize ourselves, not be too overwhelmed by the situation, and still have some self belief, and just continue walking at a certain pace and believe in yourself.
What do you want to do now? Now I'm sure you're going to get into the Indian Administrative Service. So what do we expect from Apala as an IAS officer? What is it that you want to achieve?
Ma'am, I have given the preference for Indian Foreign Services.
Okay.
I think that way I'd like to represent my country and become the voice of my country in certain aspects which are very pressing. For example, even the health aspects such as the COVID-19 pandemic, which struck globally, and aspects like climate change. I think these are the global aspects where I can where I can be a voice for my country and just utilize that stage very well.
And where did this idea that you have to write civil services come, Amma? This actually should have been my first question. Why did you choose this field, being a professional doctor? So what is the reason?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, I decided this during my last year of college. I actually wanted to be in the medical field, but once I entered the medical field, I realized that the scope is much wider when we talk of the civil services, and the opportunities that it presents is also very wide. We can have impacts directly on much larger segments of the society at a single go. So I think this motivated me to change my line to civil services and try my hand at this.
Okay. Nice talking to you, Apala. Finally, any message that you would like to give to the aspirants? Anything that you want to tell them? Any advice that you want to give them?
Yes, ma'am. I'd like to tell them that please take care of your mental health, because we don't talk about how emotionally exhausting this exam is for everyone, even for rank holders or for anyone appearing for this exam. So have a strong emotional quotient. Just keep yourself emotionally healthy and make yourself a priority.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It was so nice talking to you, and we wish you all the very best in your career. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Same here. Nice talking to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.